Hello everybody and welcome to episode 212 of the TheSixthAxis podcast. As per usual, I am your host, Kris Lips. Going to be joining me this week is Lewis. You all right, Lewis?
Mm-hmm.
Also with us this week is the wedding man, Kev. You all right, Kev?
And that's what they call me.
And
hey,
finally
wedding man.
The wedding man. And finally joining us this week is TSA's co-news editor, Tuffcub. You all right, Tuffcub?
Hello.
I got it right this time.
Well done.
You are equally as good as Aaron.
I am equally as good, although slightly better than him at the moment, because I'm not the one off in India for a month.
I was going to say, he is in India, and he was...
slacking.
On his last day today, his Wi-Fi got installed, which is not super convenient.
When I say slacking, I mean he's probably on the Slack chat.
He was, yeah. We were talking about, like... We've been having very...
Fine, it's not important, it was just a rubbish joke.
Yeah, we've been having in-depth conversations about the financial ramifications of living in India.
That's how fun it is in the TSA office.
Sounds just like an absolute blast.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. A 1 litre bottle of Coke is 50p, apparently. There you go. Facts about India. On this week's podcast, we will be discussing No Man's Sky, or Tuffcub will be at least. I will be telling you about what I saw at Sony's digital showcase, and Kev's going to be talking about Nom Nom. There we go.
Nom Nom Galaxy.
Nom Nom Galaxy.
Yeah.
And Lewis, so you talk about anything, Lewis?
Nah. For a minute, that sounded really professional. I was quite impressed.
But anyway, before we get to all of that, including Lewis's nothing, we are going to do Twitter hellos.
I just came to say hello.
On the Twitter this week, Indie Marathon, otherwise known as Lucy, but not anymore. It's kind of odd. She's just changed. Says hi.
Hello.
Hi.
Wrong McFatty says hello with different sized O's like and
how would you go about pronouncing that, Tuffcub?
And also 13 days ago Tuffcub said hello.
Oh right.
Which was
hello me.
The day
hello me from the past.
The day after our last recording, because we skipped last week obviously. But that is Twitter out the way. Also only Tony C has a question but did not say hello, so
rude.
As did Therapist Gamer, which you got to be careful with that.
Well, I think we've spoken about his name before, haven't we? No spaces in Therapist Gamer.
Yeah, you got to be careful. Anyway, it's time for the news.
News, lazy
Kev. In the news this week, Tuffcub's given me news, which is a change of pace. I like
actual news.
I have actual news rather than I've been and looked up the news, so I might have missed other important things. I'm entirely reliant on Tuffcub here to tell me what's important.
Well, if you've got a co-news editor on the cast, you're not going to not utilise his skills, are you?
Yeah, I'm not going to second guess him. If he's told me this is what the news is this week, this is what the news is this week.
Exactly.
Star Wars Battlefront's first full DLC pack is heading to the Outer Rim, apparently, which is the first of the packs, obviously, for Star Wars Battlefront. You will get 2 new hero characters, which are Nien Nunb for the Rebellion and Greedo for the Empire. I'm much more interested in Greedo.
It's weird, because Nien Noob, or whatever it's called, I think maybe is it Noob?
Nien Nunb? It's N-U-N-B.
Oh, there's an N in there. Right.
N-U-N-B.
Anyway, the Celestian, who's in the Rebellion, and sort of is a character in the films, but you don't really care about them.
No, exactly. Greedo. I mean, to be fair, Greedo.
He's very bit part, isn't he, Greedo?
The only reason people care about Greedo is the whole Greedo shot first thing.
So Peter Mayhew, who plays Chewbacca the Wookiee, has been tweeting early scripts from when it was Luke Starkiller, the film, and it has a very definitive version of that scene where Greedo's like, maybe we should take this outside, and Han's like, see you later, and just kills him, and then flicks a coin over to the bar staff and's like to help clean up or whatever. Yeah,
it's pretty obvious that Han kills him, in my opinion.
Yeah.
You're going to be getting new guns, which are a Relby V10 rifle and a DT12 blaster pistol, a new scattergun, a Deoxys grenade, and some adrenaline stim card things. I don't understand the need to have cards and everything these days. It's weird. My people at work have been trying to get me to play the new Clash Royale, which is the Clash of Clans tower defense card based. What the fuck is that game? It's like 5 genres.
Yeah, except it's really not, and it's going to make all of the money.
I mean, it's gonna make a lot of money, but it does seem to be like they just went, what if all the popular genres, just get all of them?
Yeah. I really think that it's pretty exemplary in its field, which I am also in, so that's why I know about it and have seen it. Yeah, I think it does a lot of things right. I like it. I'm quite addicted to it actually right now. Just, give it a chance. Give it a chance. They've gone global this week, haven't they?
Yeah, it came out this week properly. In terms of new map content, you're going to be getting access to 2 new planets, which are Sullust and Tatooine. Across those 2 planets, you will have 4 new maps, which are Jabba's Palace, Palace Garage, Soro Sob Refinery.
Sorry, wait, the garage.
That's what it says in this news article that you linked me to.
Sullust. We already have maps on Sullust. Pretty sure.
I don't know.
I guess new Sullust maps.
Soro Sub Refinery and Soro Sub Pipelines. There'll also be a new game mode called Extraction, which has the rebels trying to get some valuable MacGuffin to their transport before time runs out. There you go.
Well, hey Lewis.
Mm-hmm.
Do you still play Star Wars Battlefront?
I haven't played it in a long time.
Yeah, me too. It's weird. Just sort of after post-Christmas.
Just basically why I didn't play Star Wars Battlefront.
Yeah, just sort of.
No, it's not that I didn't want to play it. I think it's because The Witness and Unravel and what's the other one? Firewatch, and then all came out, and Fallout was at the same time as well. So,
did you already speak about Unravel on a podcast that wasn't on?
Yeah.
Yes.
Go listen to it. Go listen to it.
Ugh.
Other bit of news. We only have 2 bits this week. Did only 2 things happen, Tuffcub?
Yeah, pretty quiet. Well, apart from a load of game announcements, but they're just all indie things.
All right.
Who cares about the indie scene?
So there is a rumor that Nintendo are looking to make Beyond Good and Evil 2 an NX exclusive. The NX, of course, being their heavily rumored but not yet confirmed next console, which I think we are all kind of expecting to see E3 this year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, according to analysts, it's going to be out by E3 pretty much.
Which is not happening. It's like Christmas, maybe. But I would still be surprised because that's a very first turnaround on a new console announcement.
Yeah, exactly. It's normally a year.
Those iPhone style ones where.
Yeah, I mean they could do, but I find
it comes to you today.
I just find that unlikely. I think we're going to see an 18. It'll be the normal 18-month turnaround if they do it. Like a 6-month turnaround would surprise me. They might do a year and bring it out next June, but I think they'll probably just target Christmas because that's what everyone does.
Families with Nintendo Christmas.
Pretty much.
Next Christmas, it's gonna be bloody late. I mean,
yeah, but do you think they'll? But the question is, I guess, do you think they'll do 6 months from release to from announcement to release? Because that's a tight schedule.
What innovation do we think the NX is going to have?
Well, there we go. It has allegedly haptic feedback on the joysticks, so if you run into a wall, the joystick will wobble about.
Yeah.
It's got...
So like a Rumble Pack from Sony PlayStation 1?
Yeah, but except...
Well, no, the Rumble Pack was the N64.
My mistake. Shut my mouth.
It's got wireless HDMI streaming, so but I think, as far as we can tell, it is like the Wii U gamepad thing, but
it might be like one massive touchscreen, possibly?
Yeah, and you basically got a dongle which you can then go and plug into anything you want, a telly or monitor, and it will stream straight to that.
Yeah.
It's meant to be about as powerful as an Xbox One.
Which is a bad idea. It needs to be more powerful.
Yeah, well, that's what I was saying. Next Christmas, everybody's...
Yeah. I mean, even if it's this Christmas, it needs to be more powerful than Xbox One.
Yeah, well, it's not going to be, is it? Nintendo are never more powerful.
Yeah, which I know they're not, but it would not be difficult at this point to build something, not substantially, but more powerful than Xbox One at a good price would not be difficult.
Yeah, well, as I said, next Christmas, the PS4 is, well, it's going to be $250 or below, isn't it? And the Xbox One, we're getting closer to £200 at that time. So, Nintendo releasing something which is going to be at least, I would have thought, £300.
Yeah, but they on the other hand, they get like the new and shiny kind of bit,
Yeah, I still think they've kind of messed up their timing quite badly. They needed to release by now if they were going to capture any market. But yeah, so what did I say? Gamepads, a bit like an Xbox One, streaming, haptic joysticks. And apparently it's quite easy to develop for because it is basically the same as a PS4 and an Xbox One.
Anyway, it's according to Destructoid, the new game will be called Beyond Good and Evil: The Prejudice of Philosophers. Will be funded by Nintendo as an exclusive, in much the same way that they bought the rights to Bayonetta 2, which is interesting. This is basically them going, oh, you want, like, a lot of people have been crying out for that game. What if money? Just here you go.
But are they?
There are a lot of people who would play this.
Yeah, but there were a lot of people after Bayonetta 2, and that sold like 50,000 copies.
Yeah, but I don't think there were... didn't Bayonetta 2 come to other platforms eventually?
No.
I did not. I thought it did.
Nope. Wii U only.
But yeah, I don't know. I think this might do better, particularly if, like, this is a more Shenmue level of clamour for this.
Maybe.
Like, people are very much, we would like more Beyond Good and Evil, please. And I think as well, if they announce it as because Bayonetta came after it released, didn't it? It wasn't at release. If they can get this for a release title for the NX, that will probably drive initial console sales. Or help to, at least. That was a big problem with the Wii U, is it didn't have a lot at launch from third parties. If they can get, like, even a few big titles from third parties at launch, particularly exclusive third party titles, I think that'll definitely help to drive sales.
Just trying to find out what the sales were for the original. Carry on talking about things.
Well, the other thing I was going to say, the other last bit of news that you didn't mention, but we can do because it will lead nicely into what we're going to talk about in a moment, was, of course, No Man's Sky was announced. Release date today, which is, June 24th, I believe, or 26th?
24th. June
24th. And that leads us nicely into what we did. So Tuffcub, you live in that London, so you didn't go to that London. You went to a different part of that London by the river.
I went up a tower.
I went up the same tower, and we'll talk about that in a minute.
Hello.
But you went up to see No Man's Sky, but for like half an hour, which seems weird.
I went to go and see No Man's Sky. There was a presentation by Sean Murray, who was obviously very, very tired. Okay, let's start from the beginning. Basically, what Sean did during his presentation is show exactly how simple No Man's Sky is. It may look complicated, but the way he's shown it, to be honest, you just look at it and go, well, that's an obvious. Why didn't anybody think of it? The whole planetscape, Kev, you know your maths, is made up of Fourier transforms.
Oh, yeah.
So basically, you take a sine wave, which goes up and down, and then you just plonk loads of some more sine waves on top of that.
Yeah.
And eventually, you get a landscape. It's pretty easy to understand. And Sean went through showing us one sine wave, then two sine waves, then, until we got to the landscape. Bit more, add a sea level, add an atmosphere, and you've got a planet. It's actually really quite easy to understand how they've made it. That's really
nice that
is there a video of that procedure, or is there a
video?
No,
we weren't allowed to record anything, sadly. Hopefully they might show that at some point. But yeah, it was really interesting.
Yeah, that does sound good. That sounds like something that might come up at a GDC talk at some point.
Yeah, it looks amazing, but just stepping it back and then going through it step by step, and you think, well, that's...
Yeah, that's fascinating, just to be here's the maths of what we did to create a very basic... Well, not very basic, but to very basically create landscapes that look different and compelling.
So, yeah, he did that. Then he showed us a bit more of the game. We went and met some of the NPCs, which I don't think we've seen before. There are languages in the game now. So the NPCs speak all in their own language, and you can gradually learn the language by finding these large monolith things, which are laying around. And there's kind of like an RPG element. So when you talk to an NPC or you meet a monolith, when you encounter a monolith, there is like a number of generated answers to a question. Picking the right answer gives you a bonus. Picking the wrong answer will screw something up. Equally, there's like alien structures now, which dot around the landscape. There's factories and like farms and all that kind of thing, and you can go inside them. And again, there's like things you can interact with. Picking the right option will blow the factory up, or give you like a production line or something like that. Picking the wrong option will obviously give you something nasty. So he showed us that. Then he showed us a bit of flying around in space and going to another planet. And then I went and got and played it. And right. Let's preface this very clearly by saying I played this for 30 minutes, right? No more than 30 minutes.
Such suspense.
It was a bit dull. But it was a bit dull because all I had time to do was run around a planet, name a couple of animals, jump in my spaceship, and then fly to another planet. And I've seen previews and things online where people have said this game is dull. There isn't anything to do. And I agree. During that time, we and me and the other people who were reviewing it, it was a bit dull. But I don't think the game is. There's a lot more going on in that game, which they still haven't shown us. And to be honest, I'm a bit annoyed with Sony just by giving us 30 minutes because there's no way to get a good indication of how the game will play in just 30 minutes. I mean, it's a huge sprawling thing. And so if you see something online saying it's dull and boring, which, to be honest, I did write in my original preview. I was like, well, there's not actually much to do. That's because I didn't have time to do it, and that's why I took it all out and said in the preview on the website, just not had enough time. It looks great. It's fun running around, and I named a sort of Diplodocus bat tiger thing. And there was this cute little raccoon thing which kept on chasing me around, and then when it turned night, it decided to try and eat me. I did a bit of tunneling underground. I collected some resources. The planet I started on seemed to have, resources everywhere. So, that wasn't particularly interesting because I could just get it from anywhere. I saw a weather cycle going through, so the temperature drops overnight. And then, I flew off into space, flew past a space freighter, and then went to another planet, which was a bit different. And that was it. And it was really quite disappointing that, I just didn't have time to sit and get to grips with the damn thing. Because if you look on the box, or on the blurb, which it says on Amazon, it says Epic Space Battles. I don't think anybody has seen any epic space battles in the game. They must be there.
They've shown it in some of the videos, but not. I don't think they've shown you partaking in it.
Yeah, well, exactly. Yeah, just, maybe a little quick shot or something. But I saw Sean. He was like attacking a freighter, and if you blow up the pods on the freighter, it drops resources again, which you can pick up. Attack it too much, and it will fire back, and little drones will pop out. Which is, it's fun, but it's not an epic space battle. We got to see the inside of space stations, which is a new thing which they've shown. The inside only, I should point out, which is a bit annoying again. If you die whilst you're in space, you will get sent back to your last save point. I don't think they're always saves, from what I can tell. And there are save points on the space stations. You can also do trading, and you can look out of the window, which is Sean Murray's favourite thing, apparently. I think he went a little bit of fanboy because he'd be down on the planet, running around maybe 2 kilometers square, showing us everything. Then back on the space station, you can open a portal, look down on the planet, and the area he was on was represented by about 2 pixels.
Which, oh, wow.
Yeah. I mean, that shows you how big and complex the game is.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
As much as I'd love to go and tell everyone it's brilliant and they should go and buy it and pre-order it, I can't. But equally, I'm not going to tell you if it's shit, because I can't. It was a bit boring, but that's purely how the demo was set up.
Yeah, I still think I'm going to get it. It's just too exciting a premise to judge. You know, like you say, with just half an hour.
It has kind of lowered my expectations slightly.
Okay. Yeah, I do feel like a lot of the things that I'm seeing are like, well, it's not going to be the game that ends all other games.
No,
but I think it'll still be a pretty exciting thing to play for a little bit at least.
Yeah, I mean, the thing I'm always going back to is Elite, which is, Elite was the same thing: trading, flying between space stations, dogfights. If it's anywhere near that, it's going to be brilliant.
Yeah.
But as I said, I haven't got a foggiest if it is. But I hope it is. And I have apologized lots of times on the website because I know everybody wants to know what it's like. But I'd rather tell you I don't know rather than say shit.
I think that's perfectly reasonable.
I wonder if it suffers the same sort of spore effect where everyone's just super hyped for the tech and the concept, and then like the execution can't possibly live up to it because.
Yeah, I think that could be a real issue.
Yeah, a lot of people have said, it's a glorified tech demo, and on the basis of what I saw in 30 minutes, I would agree, but it's not enough. So I am sorry, and
the languages thing is interesting. Like, I think.
Do you know what the worst thing is? Okay, so running around on a planet where you're almost certainly never going to run into anyone. Okay, lush jungles. Big monoliths which you have to stand in front of to learn languages. Okay? There is one game it resembles when I was playing it. And that is Wonder, the MMO I talked about on a podcast ages back. The worst game on PlayStation 4.
Oh.
I was just feeling so bad when I was playing it. I was like, oh God, this is Wonder again.
But the thing is, there's no implication in Wonder that there is more stuff, whereas Hello Games have been very clear. It's like there's a load more stuff here. You just haven't played that bit yet.
Exactly. So, but the bit I played was basically Wonder. Why have you shown me that bit? Show me a dogfight or something exciting.
Yeah, that's the only thing that does make me slightly nervous is that they're not like showing that stuff to press.
I'm presuming that there is a hell of a lot more to this game, and I mean a lot more.
I hope it'll be like a bit like when everyone saw Journey, everyone just assumed it was in the sunny sandy bit, and then actually like they just kept their cards really close to their chest and gone, that's not all it is.
I think that's what they're doing. I think they are just trying to keep everything else quiet, which is kind of detrimental when you're trying to preview the game. But there's a lot more to the game which they're not showing, and because the whole idea of the game is to explore. And if you knew everything which was in this massive universe already from preview events, you're not exploring. So I think that they're going for we are going to release this game, not say much about it, and then YouTube will be flooded full of videos of people going, look, what the hell's this? What's this I found? I found a new alien race. I found a temple. I found a cult. I found a planet full of French dinosaurs. I don't know. There's going to be more stuff in it. I just don't know what it is.
Curious.
Yes.
I am still curious.
Yeah, I just really want to know. It confuses me that they're being so cagey about what the real game is.
Yeah.
It depends what you've seen up until now, though, because like if you watch some of the other previous press stuff, they've done the description that you can either go and visit planets or you could just spend your entire time in space being a space pirate.
Which is all great, but what's the game? Like that's the point. Is like
it's whatever you want it to be.
Sure, and that might work for some people, but they keep kind of just being like, "There's stuff we haven't shown you yet." They keep what's the quote that's at the end of your article, TC? Like from Sean.
He says, oh, I've got TSA open. He says, bear with me. He says, cool, lifelike environments, crazy dinosaurs. This isn't necessarily what the game is.
Yeah.
and that's what I saw. So yeah,
which is fine, but tell us what it is. If it's everything, as you say, Lewis, like if it's literally limitless potential, then really explicitly say that.
Well, I think they kind of have, but they just I think there's more mechanics in the game. You know, the trading. The demonstration didn't show that. I could modify my ship and do a couple of other things, but I never went and sold like Elite. You can go and sell 400 tons of food or someone to someone and see how the whole economy works. Whilst I was playing, Sean was like pointing out streaks in the sky, which are trade routes between the planets.
Yeah.
So there's other traders flying up and down and trading things, but I never got to interact with them or find out what they were doing or what they wanted, because apparently these races in the game, they have different goals. Some are scientists, some are researchers, some are at war with each other. All that, not seen. Don't know what's going on.
And also, like, are we? Yeah. So if there's factions, are they going to be quest givers, or are you just going to be able to go and involve yourself in a faction at random?
Yeah, you've got there's a standing with each faction.
Sure, but but my point being, like, are you just going and helping a faction because you want to, or is there a guy who like pops up on your screen and is like, "Hey, come and help our faction," like a normal mission giver in like every RPG ever?
There's definitely not that. But
that's my point. It's like not that you've seen. There's not that.
No, well, they've explicitly stated you won't get quests as such. What you will get is when you go down to a planet and jump into someone's factory or something, they may say, "I need this item or this resource. Can you go and get it for me?" But all those quests are not programmed. They're actually mathematically generated, exactly the same way as everything else.
Oh yeah, no. I'm not saying. I'm that's kind of what I mean. Is like that's still a mission, though. It's just procedurally generated mission.
Yeah.
So it's not like the fact that you can do everything is great, but it also in a way becomes overwhelming because there's no guidance. And that's I think that's almost what people want with this, is they just want some guidance on what you are. Games have kind of taught us that there's always something you're supposed to be doing. And I think that might be the most difficult barrier that No Man's Sky has to overcome.
Yeah, I quite agree. But I keep on going back to Elite, which is you just got dumped on a space station and then you went off and made your own stories, which is what I think No Man's Sky is going to be. And then that might be difficult for certain people to grasp, that you just go and do whatever you like. But is that going to be fun? Is the question. Is there enough things to do?
Do you think that the online aspect of it will ever turn into something where people can play together?
No, absolutely not. It will do at the start, because everybody starts. Well, they've said everybody starts on the outer rim. Now they haven't specified if this is all going to be kind of one location, or if this is going to be spread out all around.
Yeah, because it could well mean just the outer rim of a galaxy, of which there are billions. It's like the most dispersed stars in the galaxy.
I mean, apparently the ultimate objective of the game is to get to the center of the universe, and you start on the outer rim. As I said, if everybody kind of starts in the same sort of place, then the planets at the start, you're going to be running into people. You're going to be spotting animals and creatures that people
I imagine they won't. I imagine it will be everyone starts in the outer rim, but the outer rim is huge.
Yeah. In which case, there's going to be. Let's be nice and say there's 5 million players. There's 18 quintillion planets. You're never going to run into anyone.
But they very explicitly said the odds of you running into any other real player are so ludicrously low.
Yeah.
They've said that so often that it's just it's never going to happen.
But what if I'm in communication with another player and they tell me where they are? The odds of bumping into someone randomly.
Well, it's because the other thing as well is you're not all on the same server as such.
Well, even if Kev, even if you said, I am on this planet, the person you're talking to may have started on the other side of the universe. That's what I'm saying. I don't think they're going to...
I'm going to have to cut in here because you said universe before, and I let it go.
What am I getting it wrong?
Galaxy is, I believe.
Galaxy, whatever. The really, really big thing.
I assume it's a galaxy, not the universe.
No, it's a universe. There's galaxies. There's 18 quintillion planets.
Yeah, but...
There's galaxies within galaxies within galaxies, and then...
That's not...
You can't have a galaxy inside a galaxy.
Can't you? What? I don't know.
A galaxy is a large collection of stars, basically.
Right, what's bigger than a galaxy?
The universe.
Well, no.
Okay.
Larger than a galaxy is a local cluster, but no one really uses that unless you're actually an astronomer. So...
Universe.
Yeah.
Whatever.
But galaxies definitely have a center, whereas universe doesn't really have a center.
Well, it does if you've programmed it to be circular or spherical.
But it's probably a galaxy.
What shape is the universe? I mean, that's a very deep philosophical question.
There must be. We know where the edges of our universe are, at least where we can see. So there must be a center of that.
But everywhere's expanding away from each other.
The center of the universe is wherever you are.
Yeah, that's what's weird.
It's me.
It actually just confirms what Tuffcub's known all along, is that he's the centre of the universe.
Yeah. Well, whatever it is, it's massive, and
anyway,
you're never going to run into it.
Sorry to completely derail with simple pedantry, but...
Yeah, I mean, the online stuff is basically for the naming of things.
Mm-hmm.
So whilst you're running around, you use binoculars, and if you use your binoculars on an animal, then you get to call it whatever you like.
Yeah.
There were some very rude names when I was playing, as other people were on the same planet as me. But yeah, that's kind of interesting. But that's the only thing.
So in your experience, where it was a much more limited subset of the game, presumably, you said other people were on the same planet as you, and that means that the things that they name appear rather than actually them appear.
I didn't see anyone running around. So I don't know if. I would have thought, at least if you're in the same vicinity as someone in their spaceship, you might see that. I don't know if you can actually see a person.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting to me because I just think that then would become like the ultimate social gaming experience if it was all of the things that they've already said. Plus, you could do it with your friends. That would be kind of amazing.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Who knows?
Just looking at Wikipedia, it's a galaxy.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
Thanks for fact checking.
Yeah.
It's a big spacey thing.
Yeah, it's still a huge thing.
Yeah. And the quintillions of planets thing is perfectly valid within the size of a galaxy as well.
Anything else you want to say about this?
I hope it's good.
Yeah, me too.
I really do. I really.
And so the pricing was the other thing that was announced this week, wasn't it?
Yeah, which seemed to surprise.
Everyone went fucking crazy. They're like, it's going to be full price. And they were like, what?
Yeah, apparently because it's an indie game, it can't be full price. The price of your game is strictly limited to the number of people who work on it.
Yeah, I don't know what measure people have really, because people were annoyed about weird things. Like I think Kris, you responded to somebody who was like annoyed at the file size must be pretty small.
Yeah.
And they were complaining that the price for the size of game wasn't very good.
That really confused me.
Surely you don't measure your game value on the file size it generates.
Yeah, exactly.
I kind of see where they're coming from. They mean like, your Assassin's Creeds and your Call of Duties are going to be like heavily curated with lots of art assets and stuff, and therefore have a big file size. But like the file size itself, just doesn't seem like an accurate measure. I mean, the same thing was true with like Journey and the time of the game.
Yeah.
People were complaining about that. Where like it was too expensive because it was only like a 2-hour experience. But in this case, it's like a potentially infinite hour experience, and people are still saying £50.
528 billion years or something ridiculous.
Yeah. So I mean, £1 per year, that's actually pretty good.
I actually worked it out. It's 998 million years per dollar of entertainment.
It's all right, that is.
And people are complaining about it.
Seems okay.
That seems quite reasonable, to be honest.
Oh,
I mean, like most games only give you one planet, not even a whole planet as well. And this is quintillions.
I mean, using the logic people are using, Destiny should be somewhere in the, I don't know, billions of dollars.
True. I mean, the only, and I don't like this, but the only possible justification I can see is that they are a much smaller team, so they've got lower overheads, but they should still be able to charge whatever they want for a game. And of course, it's your prerogative that you don't have to buy it.
Yeah. A lot of the criticism seemed to be like, oh, but it's just an indie game, so we're paying 50 quid for an indie game. And it's like the amount of kind of press and marketing that Sony are putting behind the game.
The indie game
is sort of like almost like nearing on AAA levels of like, I mean, they were like, was it last year's E3? They were like on stage for Sony.
Yeah,
not in a booth somewhere in the behind the scenes. Like they were like Sony's flagship product for the year. So yeah, it's it's an independent studio in some ways, but like it's completely not in other ways.
Yeah, it's like Quantic Dream. You know, it's not Sony, but in terms of this game, it's pretty much a Sony first party game.
I mean, this is what confuses me. Like, what defines what an indie studio is?
It's a bit nebulous these days, especially because Sony's had such a big push for like indie devs,
exactly,
and a big focus on them. And it's like, wait, when you've got like a massive console manufacturer, like on like payrolling your game, and am I still an indie at this point? Does indie mean creative control, or is it about money? It's I think it's a bit of
I think it's a bit blurred for this game at least.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyway, enough on that. Kev, tell us about Nom Nom Galaxy.
All right. So, Nom Nom Galaxy is a game in which you endeavor to gain the 100% market share in soup across the galaxy. In a nutshell, it's a soup factory building and manufacturing simulator. You have to explore planets and set up soup factories and discover recipes.
That sounds definitely how you make a soup.
I do like recipes.
And the way you make a recipe is just you find 2 different ingredients on the planet and you chuck them in a machine and it goes, cool, you got a new recipe. And then,
that's how you make food.
And then you send the soup off in a rocket and then you get stats at the end of each day about like how much money the soup was making.
This is 100% my experience of cooking.
Exactly how Mr. Himes set up his company.
It's by Pixel Junk, and so it's it's got some fairly
esoteric ideas.
Yeah, and it's got that polish that you've come to expect from their games as well.
Yeah.
Tuffcub, I don't think you'd like its art style very much.
I've played it actually.
And what did you think?
I thought it was utter shit.
So well, fine. You're allowed. You don't have to apologize for your opinions, even if they are wrong. So the kind of the clever part of the game is that you can like hire robot staff. And so when you first start out, it's just you going in and gathering ingredients and like taking them to the soup machines and then taking the soup can that comes out into the rocket and then like waiting for the profit and all that stuff. But as you progress through the game, you unlock more things in the shop, and you have these robots which are they all do quite specific tasks. So there's one called Charlie and Bob or something like that, which always comes as a pair. And all they do is carry ingredients from left to right until they reach a barrier or a step, and then they change direction. And so you kind of set up these little machines where you go, okay, well, I know there's ingredients growing there, so I'll put my Charlie and Bob's on that line, and then I'll put my factory corridor on the same sort of plane, so they can take the ingredients from the outside into the factory. And then there's like robots which kind of kick stuff up vertically or like push it down. And it's all kind of about building your factory in such a way that you can sort of go off and explore and find new ingredients and that sort of thing, and trust that your little automated soup powerhouse can travel on without you. And you're at least at the early parts of the game, you're up against some rival soup company, and so it's kind of a race to the 100% of the market share of soup. And it took me 5 in-game days, because the tutorial for the game runs you relatively gently through it, and you come to a pre-established soup factory, and you just got to kind of polish it up a little bit, and it's quite easy. You do that for the first 2 worlds. And then the 3rd world, I was like, right, I'll find the soup factory and we'll get started. So I was exploring, and then one in-game day ended, and I was like, oh, that's weird. I didn't find the soup factory all day. So then I got to 5 days of exploring, and I was like, yeah, got it. You got to build it. Got to build your soup factory from the start, haven't you? Yeah. There isn't a pre-established one at that point. You just go into your building menu, and it's just like you can plonk down the office wherever you want and grow it out from there. So, that wasn't surfaced that well to me, but maybe I'm just stupid and didn't realize or didn't read something where I was meant to. So yeah, didn't win that particular round, but then played it again. You can play online as well, which I haven't done competitively, I think. So the market share isn't just you and an AI computer; it's actually you're racing to get soup production running better than your opponents.
I'm just very confused about this game. Is it just genuinely about making soup?
That's it. It's about picking and discovering the soups. But there's weapons, and you have this saw which you use to interact with the environment, so you can carve out large chunks of land. But there are
and then fill them with soup.
No, you don't fill anything with soup. You can fill it with water if you could find some water. It's got quite good water physics in there. But yeah, it was free on PlayStation Plus either last month or this month. I can't remember.
Last month.
So if you've got it, then you should play it. If you haven't got it, then you can't get it for free anymore because it stopped being free, I guess.
I mean, I'll be honest. I just don't want to go to the developer's house if they invite me over for soup, because I think they've just got a fundamental misunderstanding about how soup works.
Maybe you've got a fundamental misunderstanding.
I may well be wrong. Maybe I've been wrong all the times I've made soup. I've been doing it wrong. You don't just put like potatoes and stuff in. You need to go around the galaxy collecting 2 things and blend them together, and that makes soup. Any 2 things.
Yes, that's the rules.
That's how you make soup.
That's how you discover the different soup combos.
Yeah, I just need to be like, oh, what about this book and this tin? Let's see what happens. Soup, book soup, excellent. Lewis.
Yeah.
You've been watching Lucifer on Amazon Instant Video, which I've also been watching. I really like it.
Yeah, it's all right. I didn't know what to expect. I watched it on a whim.
I kind of wish it wasn't just shot like a standard police procedural thing.
Yeah. Also, Tom Ellis needs to stop being so camp.
I kind of like it, though.
Oh, I don't know. It gets a bit annoying sometimes. It's just a bit... It's like a bit too hammy. It's like, calm down.
Yeah, but also he's literally the devil.
I know, but it's bad enough that he's British. But then to make him really camp and like in sometimes it's just unbearably so. It's like, what? There was no need for that. Stop being.
I mean,
why is he wearing eyeliner?
I don't know. I will say what I really like about the show is they don't fuck about with the fact that he's the actual devil.
No, I like that. The fact that he's like from the start, and he's like,
there's no subtlety in this show. It's like, no, he's the devil.
And then people are like, what are you actually? And it's like, well, if you're not going to listen.
Yeah, I love that, because he just tells people he's the devil, and they go, what? And he's like, no, I'm the devil.
Yeah. No, I quite enjoy it. Like I said, I watched it on a whim, not expecting much, because the synopsis of it sounds terrible. And if you don't know, it's basically the devil has returned to Earth because he's got fed up with torturing people. He owns a nightclub, and he can ask people what their like deepest desires are, and he's got like hypno eyes, and people tell him. But then he gets a bit bored and falls in with the detective and starts solving crimes, and is starting to get a bit of humanity about him. The
only thing I am concerned that it is edging towards the standard, like, wacky police show team up,
Yeah.
That it's going to turn into, like, Numbers or something.
Yeah.
And while I like Numbers, that format has been done to death, really.
And I quite like the inclusion of the other angels. Forgotten his name now.
Oh yeah, I know who you mean. Metatron, the voice of God.
No, I haven't got to that episode yet.
Yeah, you have. It's the big black guy. Is Metatron.
No, that's not his name.
I think it is.
No, it's got a funny name.
Metatron is the word of God, though, in terms of Christian.
Yeah.
It's the actual name of an angel. Let me see if I can find it.
That is the name of an angel.
Because I remember, because it's in Supernatural, and he's played by an actor whose name I can't remember, but is quite a famous actor also.
He's played by D.B. Woodside, who's the guy from Buffy and Suits. Amenadiel.
Thank you. That was good trivia, off the cuff.
Is what he is. Yeah, only because he popped up in Suits, and what's her face is also in Suits. Gina Torres, who was also in Buffy. So you all can always link them back to Buffy or Angel in some way. But yeah, so he plays Amenadiel, who keeps coming down and saying, you need to go back to hell. There are souls waiting to be judged and all that lot. So I'm kind of hoping that maybe in the next season or later seasons, there starts to be more of a Constantine vibe than anything else, because I think that would work quite well. Hello?
Hello, we're still here.
Sorry, no, everyone went quiet.
Just enthralled by your...
yeah, I'd like to see a Constantine vibe about it. The more playing off the angels and the good versus evil and things like that.
Yeah.
Because I think if it's him finding humanity, that's fair enough, and it's done believably.
I'd feel that's quite limited if they go that way.
Yeah, and it's unravelled quite nicely. I think the pace has been good. You actually believe that he's starting to feel for the humans and wants to help people, and also still wants to punish those that actually deserve punishment.
Yeah.
So it's been paced quite well, but I would like to see a bit more of the supernatural coming out.
I will say I haven't read the comic book it's based on.
Oh, is it a comic book? Is it?
Yes, but I think it's probably quite loosely based on it. But the two ways they can go is that he does go discover more humanity, or he doubles down on the I'm the devil element. And I think the second way of those is the much more interesting way to go.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I think.
Because if they go with discovering humanity, it's such a sort of just it becomes a completely unoriginal story.
Yeah, and then how long before he can't discover any more humanity and then just becomes a normal Joe?
Yeah, exactly. At that point, it's just basically Angel.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think my biggest problem with the program is I keep on expecting Miranda Hart to keep on showing up. Kris didn't get that.
No.
Tom Ellis.
I wonder if she got him that.
God, sorry.
No, I wonder if because she went to Hollywood, didn't she? And has done a couple of things.
I presume.
I just found it weird that Tom Ellis is in it. Is all. He seems like an out of the box sort of choice.
Well, I don't know. I think he's kind of good, but
he works as like a complete contrast to all the other characters, I think.
You have to look at, British actors in American telly. We're getting all the good parts. It's not just Tom Ellis. Johnny Miller as Sherlock, for example.
Yeah.
But then I kind of think for Sherlock, you'd have to be British, really.
Yeah, I don't know. It just.
Oh, Watson isn't.
That's true. Watson's fucking Lucy Liu for some.
But then they make
reason.
That bigger dramatic change. You don't want to, make him American. You can't take his name and then make him American. That would be a step too far. That'd be like us making Shaft.
Or an American version of The Office. That would be terrible.
Oh, I love that. I prefer it to the original.
Yeah, okay. Anyway. Yes, I quite like it as well. I've been watching bits of it.
Yeah, I think it's pretty good overall. Like, I probably got to the third or fourth episode and kind of trailed off a bit, but I have been enjoying it.
I agree the whole police procedural thing is dull as fuckery, though, because I've just started watching Limitless.
Yeah.
Which is the TV version of the film, which Matey Boy was in. I can't remember his name.
Bradley Cooper.
I
didn't realise they'd done a TV version.
He's in the TV show like a little bit, right?
Yeah. Yes, and the TV show is a police procedural.
Yeah. The thing is with Lucifer, though, is I wouldn't even mind it being a police procedural if it wasn't shot like a police procedural. If they put something slightly different into the way it was staged and stuff, I would find that interesting. And they do that a little bit, like when he's kind of being when what did you say his name was? Amandiel or whatever. Amandiel. When he arrives, it like they change the style a little bit, and it's kind of different.
And it's slow motion.
Yeah, it's slow motion, which is quite nice. But also, like the look of the show changes a little bit in those sequences. But it would be nice if they just kind of threw a little bit more of that in. I think, because as it is, they're taking an interesting concept and making it just look super bland, and that for me is a real problem. But yeah, I just hope I kind of hope it does something to distinguish itself, because I think it'll find itself. I think they will find it hard to get a second season or third season otherwise.
Yeah,
and it's interesting enough to deserve more than it's getting.
It's early days though, isn't it? So hopefully it'll.
Yeah, I don't know if it's airing here at the same time it is in the States.
It's
every Tuesday
Amazon.
on Prime, yeah.
Yeah, it's Amazon Prime.
No, I know that, but I don't know if like the States is ahead of us or not.
No, not for internet stuff.
Okay. Oh no, it's not an Amazon thing. In the States, it's on actual telly, I think.
Is it?
I think so.
I thought
that would seem like a weird licensing deal.
That happens a lot, though.
Mind you, that happened with Mr. Robot.
Yeah, Mr. Robot is on Amazon Prime here and on a real TV show. Let me just check.
Oh, apparently there's only 6 episodes.
What, of Lucifer?
Yeah.
Well, on IMDb, Tom Ellis is listed in being in 13.
No, it might be that they've only aired 6.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was going to say, Amazon Prime does it every Tuesday. It's a new episode every Tuesday.
No, I get that. I just mean I don't know if that's...
Tuesdays, mate. Everyone.
All right.
Everyone is a Tuesday.
No,
that might be why there's only 6 episodes, because it's only been 6 Tuesdays.
Yeah.
But
it's been every Tuesday since 6 Tuesdays ago.
Yeah, but there's at least been 13 Tuesdays, because he's in 13 episodes.
In America, it's on Fox.
Fox, yeah.
Yeah. But it looks like we're on the same schedule they are.
Which is weird, because we have Fox, but nobody wants to put any programs on it because like 3 people watch Fox.
Well, it's called FX, isn't it, here? Which is not Fox.
No,
it's a different...
No, it's called Fox.
It's Fox now. It used to be FX.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's also different to Fox.
People do watch it because it's got The Walking Dead on it.
Yeah.
What is it?
Which is confusing because that's on AMC
in America.
Right,
because I watched that on Sky Go. I don't
realise these things. Supergirl and Agent Carter.
In that case, I watched 2 of those 3 things.
None of those things are on Fox in the States.
Well, Agent... Yeah, well.
Agent Carter...
Fox is a Sky thing here?
Agent Carter's on ABC in America because it's Disney.
Is Fox and Sky the same entity in America?
Well, they're not the same entity because Sky doesn't really exist in America.
Fox
News International.
Yeah, I think it is, isn't it?
Rupert Murdoch owns them all, right?
Yeah.
That's the common link. But it's just, it's a bit confusing the way that stuff from Fox ends up on Sky. It's weird.
But it's convenient because I use my brother's Sky Go subscription, which is a legal grey area for sure. But it means that I get to watch things like The Walking Dead. I
probably will re-up it now, but now TV is pretty good actually for that. Like the entertainment pass, and that's £6-7 a month.
Yeah, that's what I have.
Yeah, and I feel that presents good value for money. Like I was mostly using it just to watch like The Blacklist and John Oliver, and I was getting enough value out of those 2 shows. But then they both went on hiatus, and I was like, and cancel because I have not watched anything. I have not watched anything on this in a month.
Yeah, I have to say Now TV is really good. It's the good bits of Sky without the shit stuff.
Yeah,
interesting. Do you get Game of Thrones on it?
Yes,
you do.
I have. At the moment, I have. Well, it will be Game of Thrones, but I've got Elementary, Flash, Arrow, DC.
Yeah, it's everything that's on Sky is on it.
Walking Dead.
It's literally tomorrow started now.
It's on right now.
Yeah, interesting. Because that's another thing that I'm going to have to watch because it's set in the same TV universe that I'm now vested in. Damn them!
But so although The Blacklist is on Netflix, Kev, Sky has it as it airs. So if you get Now TV, you get like the new episodes as they come out, rather than like Netflix will probably get the whole season like 6 months after it's finished. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it depends rather if you want to watch it while it's on, or if you want to just like binge it when it's done.
Yeah.
And for me, The Blacklist is compelling enough to watch while it's still going, because that's a really good show.
And
I stopped watching it. It lost me.
Sky keeps their episodes on for an entire month, so even if you don't have time to it's worth it just for. Because I don't watch anything live anymore.
And then they box set like old ones as well when a series is done. Yeah. Sometimes they put it all back up again when it's finished.
Yeah, like every episode of Game of Thrones is up there at the moment.
Yeah. And like I think the first, because I think we're on season 3 of The Blacklist now, and all of the first 2 seasons is on there. All that kind of stuff. It's pretty good.
Gogglebox and First Dates. That's the live TV that I watch.
I watch football, and random stuff like just Dave and shit, whatever. Because if I'm just channel hopping while I'm doing something else. Anyway, so that's what Lucifer's like. I think.
Maybe.
Lucifer is like The Blacklist. That's what we've learned today. It's not as good as The Blacklist. The Blacklist is a much better show. I went to Sony. Well, I went to the same tower that Tuffcub went to.
What was the tower called?
It was
the mystical Sony Tower.
It's Millbank Tower on the north bank of the Thames. I got stuck in a lift for about 10 minutes. It was a bit weird. Tuffcub wrote a story about it. Might be slightly embellished.
Maybe.
You were correct in one element that people did stop looking at their phones and started talking to each other for a bit.
Yeah, it's weird how disasters do that. I mean, not that it was the most major disaster of the year, but
yeah. You know. Well, basically, it was one of those weird ones that lifts seem to do sometimes. Someone managed to pull the doors open, and you could see that we'd got to the floor, but then like dropped half a door's length down. So,
well, that's not terrifying.
Yeah, that sounds pretty horrible.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely dropped because you could feel the drop. But when someone pulled the door open, and I was like, oh, okay, so yeah, we basically got where we were going. And then it went, I don't like being doors, I don't like it.
You could feel the drop
in
your pants.
If memory corrects me, where you were going was the 28th floor.
29th floor. Yeah.
29, okay, so dropping, not
you
good.
You don't want to drop 28 floors, 29 floors, do you?
Lifts can't drop all the way. They've got stuff to stop that.
You would hope.
You think.
They've had that since about the 19th century.
Yeah, you haven't seen many movies, have you?
Yeah, but movies aren't real.
What?
Shut your face.
It's the same reason, like, if you look in actual lifts, no hatch to climb onto the top.
Well, then how do people get onto the top?
You don't. It's a really bad idea. You're much safer inside the lift.
But what if Dennis Hopper's attached a bomb to the lift cables and Keanu Reeves needs to get in to disarm it?
Because if you think about it, right, inside the lift, pretty good. Outside the lift, lots of cogs and stuff you can get stuck in. So,
I don't want to get stuck in cogs.
No.
I'm not convinced.
And lifts, well known for not having cogs on the inside. Except, I guess, for like steampunk lifts, they probably do.
Yeah. Also, do lifts still use cogs?
They must use some kind of cogs, I would imagine.
I don't know if cogs are involved. I don't think they're clockwork at all.
Anyway, Kickoff.
Cogs don't have to be clockwork.
Yeah. I think cogs definitely count as clockwork.
Alright, anyway, games. I didn't play any that had cogs in. I'm probably going to talk about just a couple of them.
Let us know, podcast at TheSixthAxis.com, or just reach us on Twitter.
Well, cogs are basic. Wait. Quickly. Cogs are basically gears, and gears clearly exist, so there you go. Anyway.
Help me.
Why are you saying Kickoff?
Because he wants me to talk about Kickoff.
Kickoff.
I, for a minute, was thinking he was telling me to just get on with things, but he actually just wants me to talk.
I thought maybe he was saying, it's all kicking off here about...
No, he just wants me to talk about Kickoff Revival. Dino Dini's Kickoff Revival, which is a football game, which is heavily physics-based. That's a lot more realistic than FIFA in, like, the ball does not just stick to your foot. And it is very, very, very hard. But I played, like, 2 matches of it, and I was starting to get the hang of it by the end of the second match. So it's one of those games that has kind of, I think it's going to have an initial difficulty hump, but once you're over that, I think you'll really get the hang of it. It's a lot more finessed. So, whereas in FIFA, you would perhaps tend to Well, you know, in most games, when you move the thumbstick, you kind of stick it right as far as it'll go. You know, like if you're going right, you move it all the way to the right. In this, the movement is a lot more analog, so you might want tiny movements of it. Because if you move it far, you kind of start running with the ball, and the ball knocks it ahead of you. And if you move to the left, the ball does not come with you. The ball keeps going because it's got its own independent physics and stuff. So the ball's physics are completely separate from your character's physics.
Is that what people want from a football game?
That's what they want from this very specific football game.
Yes, we do.
Because it's not like they're not taking away FIFA, you realise, Kev.
Yeah.
I just assumed they were replacing FIFA with this.
No, this is not going to be the only football game.
Is Kev aware of Dino Dini and the history?
No.
Okay, Dino Dini created basically the best football games in the 16-bit era, strangely called Kickoff.
Yeah, he created Kickoff in 1989 and then went to work for Virgin, where he created a game called Goal!
Yeah, which was basically Kickoff 3.
Yeah.
But yeah, of the football games on the Amigas and the STs of that era, Kickoff was the number one game. So it's coming back to PlayStation.
Even better than the Sensible World of Soccer?
In terms of playing football, yes. Sensible Soccer isn't really football.
It's not really a football simulator in the same way.
Whereas Kickoff was, proper football.
And that's
weirdly, I liked it for a sports game.
And that's what they're very much going for with Revival. It's a lot more physics-based.
I was quite surprised to hear you being so complimentary about just a football game, just generally.
I've started playing Rocket League as well, and I like that.
Yeah, so I didn't have space because this has kind of gone into a roundup piece with a bunch of other games, so I need about 300 words to write about it. But it's in some ways it is quite similar to Rocket League in that it captures a lot more what it's like if you play football. Like, I think FIFA and PES are attempting to capture like professional football and do a reasonably good job of that, or at least an enjoyable simulation of it. Whereas Rocket League, I think Rocket League, not deliberately, has captured very much what it's like to actually go and play football.
I'd really like to see a decent spectator mode for Rocket League.
Yeah,
I think that could shoot it into esports stardom.
It's kind of ridiculous they haven't done it yet, because it seems like it'd be pretty trivial to add. And Kickoff Revival has got the same kind of thing in that it much more accurately models what it's like if you actually play football. Mm-hmm. In that, if you play football and you're dribbling with the ball, you cannot like knock the ball forward and go left. That doesn't work because the ball keeps going. The ball has no knowledge of you.
Outrageous.
So that's a lot more. It's like, it's very, very, very analog. A lot more analog than almost any game I think I've ever played. Like, it's very fine levels of movement, so you would be very careful about how you're moving the thumbstick. But I liked it. It was really enjoyable. It's tricky, but I think people will get the hang of it. In much the same way they do with the original Kickoff. Like, the original Kickoff was apparently there are people, a game from 1989. There are still people who gather to play it competitively every year. Which I find incredibly amazing. It's just incredible that there are people competitively playing a game from 1989. That's brilliant. And so it was clearly something special. And Dino Dini is trying to recapture that, or at least bring a modern version of that in Kickoff Revival. It's fun. It's nice as well to see someone just presenting a football game in a slightly different way, to be honest.
And most importantly, it's coming to Vita.
It's coming to Vita and PS4 exclusively.
Yes.
What else do I want to talk about? Shall we do a quick bit on What Remains of Edith Finch? Does anyone want to hear about that?
No, but I've got some breaking news.
Go.
Breaking news. Paragon, which is Epic Games MOBA, is coming to early access on PC.
Okay.
That's not breaking.
Hold on.
All right, fine.
Early access on PC and PlayStation 4.
PS4 doesn't have early access.
It does now.
What?
Starting on the 18th of March, you get early access to PC and the PS4 version. It's going to cost $20. to get into early access.
What?
Yep.
So you've just added this and not mentioned it to anyone?
Apparently it's a thing now.
So I signed up for the Paragon beta, and I got an email from them today at 5:25 this evening. And they mentioned the early access thing there. They don't mention anything about PlayStation at all, actually. But I told them that I have PlayStation. So.
I'm reading off TSC. I'm just looking at the press release. Yeah, as far as I can see, it's early access on PS4.
I feel like we're going to have to issue a correction next week.
Well, good.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm quite excited about Paragon.
Hold on. Epic Games announced the Founders Packs for Paragon, the upcoming MOBA for PC and PlayStation 4, will go on sale on March the 14th, followed by an early access season on March the 18th.
But that doesn't say early access on PS4. It's implied, but it's not explicit.
It is quite implied. Quite heavily implied.
Anyway, talk about something else and I'll check.
Anyway, so what remains of Edith Finch? Should people see this game? It was bits of it at E3, I think. And
no, not heard of that one.
It's one of the many games that seems to feature you inhabiting animals for some reason.
Inhabiting animals.
Hold.
Yeah.
PlayStation blog, Paragon early access, Mac, and that's on the US PlayStation blog.
So they've just got, oh yeah, by the way, earlier we just did that.
Yep, early access is now a thing on PlayStation.
That's fucking weird.
Was it definitely not a thing before?
Yeah, no one's done it before. Like, Xbox did it, and they made quite a big deal about the fact they were doing it. And now PS4's just like, yeah, I guess we did that. Yeah. Alright.
Yeah. Anyway, Edith Finch, what remains of her?
So what remains of Edith Finch is one of the many very narrative-heavy games that are coming out at the minute, where I didn't get to play a lot of this because I got to play it right at the end and then I got kicked out. But it is, you play as a young girl, well, I think she's a teenager at this point, coming back to her family's house. So the basic idea of this house is that there's been a room for every Finch who has died, and they add a room for each new one. But when you die, like, your room gets sealed up, like a lock goes over it and it gets all sealed. And you go into the one room that someone else has actually broken into, which is a previous Finch, and you find their diary. And you're reading through it, and then you kind of get like a flashback sequence into what they were doing. And it's this diary of a little girl who was like basically played up one night, so her mum sent her to bed with no supper, and so she just starts eating random stuff. Like, she eats a carrot from a long deceased gerbil. Like, a gerbil's been dead for like 6 weeks or something, and the carrot's still there, so she eats the carrot.
It's better if she had the gerbil.
She eats like some toothpaste. It's a bit odd. She just eats like a bunch of weird stuff she finds. And then you turn into a cat.
Obviously.
So I think she eats some weird berries. So I'm like, at least
the whole thing is possibly just a hallucination.
Yeah, I'm at least 30% convinced that this is just like she ate some weird berries and had a bad trip. But I don't know. I didn't get to play enough of it. But she basically a bird comes to her window, and she wants to eat the bird, and then she's a cat, and so she jumps out the window to try and get the bird. And then it's kind of just this weird bit where you're like running through a tree trying to catch a bird, and then I got kicked off. So I can't say much more about it than that, but
sounds pretty weird.
It's fucking odd. I saw some other people playing it, and like, you seem to, the demo, I believe, had other of the Finches in it, so you could, someone ended up being like what appeared to be a snake on a boat. And although you think you're having a bad trip, like, it might be just be hallucinations, this snake, like, seemed to be bothering a sailor, and the sailor ran away. It was like, oh shit, there's a big snake. So maybe you actually do turn into a snake?
Are you on drugs?
I don't know. Like,
I just don't know what's real anymore.
So yeah, it's a really odd looking game. I'm probably going to bang a little bit into it about it in this roundup because I can't really write more than a few hundred words on it. But I like what I saw. It's at a state in development where it's still got some real technical issues. But it's just.
This is the Giant Sparrow people, isn't it?
Yeah, it's Giant Sparrow. So they did
Unfinished Swan.
the Unfinished Swan. So yeah, whatever you were going to get next was going to be weird. But this is, even by their standards, is odd, shall we say. Yeah, but like, I kind of want to play more because I want to know what the fuck is going on. I think it's the kind of game where if they just put out a trailer that is like just the first 20 minutes of this game and then just cut it at a story point, I think everyone who watched that trailer would go and buy it because they'd just be like, what is going on?
What did I just see?
I need to know what happens. I need to understand what this game is about. I think they could do that and it would just be a very effective marketing strategy. But yeah, it's just one of those games where I think in a very similar way to No Man's Sky, like I think it's probably going to be quite hard to demo. Because I played Bound as well, which is from Plastic, who are Polish used to be Polish demo scene developers. But so Bound is another awesome game that's apparently very narrative focused. And with those kind of narrative focused games, I just feel it's difficult to get a good sense of them without playing the whole game, you know? Like I would imagine, I didn't get to go and preview it, but I imagine like previewing Firewatch would have been quite difficult.
Yeah.
Because you kind of need the whole thing, really, right?
Yeah. I quite agree. It's like No Man's Sky. It's like you can't preview something like that.
Yeah, it just doesn't really work. Like those are games that don't fit into the normal structure. Like it's either games which are like No Man's Sky is just too big to preview in a few hours, or half an hour as you got, and those other games, like these very tight narrative focused games, are difficult to preview without just being given the whole game to play, because you kind of need it to get a sense of what's really going on. But Bound, which I talk about, which I wrote a full preview on, is just this gorgeously pretty game that's about a ballerina who is a princess who is saving the kingdom from a big monster that's smashing it. But apparently it's very narrative focused. It's platformery. But what's nice if they went and motion captured a real ballerina who worked with a choreographer, so that everything you see in the game is just this motion capture, and so it's just all absolutely stunning, like animations. Just the movement is so incredibly fluid and feels so. It feels almost beyond real. Does that make sense? Like it's so fluid. Even compared to other games that are using motion capture, but because they've gone with an actual dancer, someone whose natural movement is obviously very fluid in a way, they've captured that so perfectly that it kind of comes out the other side of feeling realistic. Does that make sense? Do you get what I mean?
Sort of Uncanny Valley type stuff.
No,
hyper realistic.
Yeah, hyper realistic. Yeah. Like, yeah, not Uncanny Valley because that's kind of negative. It's the opposite of that. It's just so gorgeous to watch. It's a game that I feel no screenshot would ever do it justice because you need to see it in motion because the world ripples. The world is almost Minecrafty in that it's all made of blocks, but it's not like the low poly blocks of Minecraft. This is all absolutely gorgeous, very high poly, very sheen on everything. That's one of the things they've gone for is they've gone for like super high anti-aliasing. It runs at solid 60 FPS, which is the kind of thing that if you've got that demo scene background, you can really work on those kind of things because that kind of background is about just ludicrous technical optimization. And so that's what they're going for here. But the world is made of blocks, but these blocks constantly like come in front of you to form your path and they ripple around you. And what's really nice as well as the camera effect they've got is although it is clearly part of the game's visual art style, it solves a technical issue as well. Is in most games if the kind of camera clipping you get with walls, where in this all they do is if the camera moves for a wall, the wall kind of dissolves around you in the same rippling way, so you can still see the character. And it just works beautifully. It's just like it solves the technical issue while fitting into the game's art style, which is genius. And it's probably just one of the prettiest games I've seen in years, because it's in a similar way to Firewatch in that they've created just a very distinctive visual style for it and really run with it. Like Firewatch is not beautiful in the traditional AAA sense, but it's beautiful because they've created something there as their own and really made it work. And I would say, in my opinion, Bound is the closest we've got. Well, one of the closest games to like a work of art in motion. And it's really interesting. It's drawing a number of modern art schools to draw its visual style. It's heavily influenced by Bauhaus and other. I can't remember what the others are, Supremism or something like that. But it just looks great. Like, I can't talk about that enough. It's a great looking game. It looks absolutely gorgeous, and I'm really looking forward to seeing where it goes. I saw lots of other games, but we're running short on time. I've written, I have written up a few things. So I've written up Bound. I wrote up, what went up today? Can you remember, Tuffcub? What did I write today?
You wrote about something very important, which was
what was it?
Headlander.
Headlander is great. That's like a retro futuristic game. You should go read the preview of that. And then on Friday, I've got a thing that's got a bit on Kickoff, a bit on a game called Tricky Towers, which is a little bit. It's like a physicsy Tetris competitive game. It's really good. I really liked it. Has got a bit on Alienation, which is a twin-stick shooter, sci-fi, really, really good. And I haven't written it yet, but I probably will add in a bit on What Remains of Edith Finch, because I don't think I played enough really to spin that out to a whole preview. So that'll go up, and probably I've got a couple of other things that I want to write up. A game called Brutal, which is a roguelike, which kind of takes classic, like really like 1980s style stuff where you had dungeon crawlers that were all presented as ASCII art. Imagine that, but then you make a 3D game that way, so the textures are just made of ASCII.
Oh yeah, I saw the trailer for that.
Yeah. It's a really fun style. It's really cool. It's and that again has got really fluid combat in it. I like that. And probably I think it's called. I can't remember if it's called Kill Strain or Dead Strain.
Kill Strain.
Kill Strain is a MOBA. That's really interesting because it's 5v2, where the two are mutants. If the mutants capture you, you become a mutant. So it's got dynamic team sizing,
Manhunt.
Which is
just Manhunt.
Is it Manhunt?
No, I mean like not the video game Manhunt. I mean the playground game. Manhunt.
Yes, it is the playground game Manhunt. Yes. But yeah, like other MOBAs aren't doing it with dynamic team sizing, which makes it really interesting. It kind of keeps the game in a much more constant state of flux.
Can I just quickly mention? I don't want to talk about it, but just mention Layers of Fear, which is what I reviewed 2 weeks ago.
Yes, go
which,
very quickly.
If you do like your twisted horror games, again, it's a bit of a...
I thought you were going to say Twisted Metal.
Yeah, love it.
It's one of those almost walking simulator things. There are puzzles, but you don't actually do that much. But if you do like your horror tropes and things jumping out of cupboards and babies screaming and twisted fairy tale things, go and buy it because it's really good. I really enjoyed it.
All right, cool. Right, it is question time.
Blam.
In this week's question time, Tuffcub would like to know: do you own any game-related clothing that you have not been given as a freebie? And
Clothing?
If so, what is it?
Clothing.
What's clothing?
Clothing.
That you've not been given.
Yes, stuff you haven't been given as a freebie.
No, I think I only have swag related.
I'm trying to think. Yeah, I don't think I've bought anything that's clothing.
No.
Oh no, I've got like a Space Invaders t-shirt that I don't wear.
I just thought I've got an Angry Birds t-shirt.
Oh, I've got a Nathan Drake costume.
That's true. Does that count?
It's not really.
It's assembled though, isn't it? It's not actual merchandise.
Yeah.
Was that the criteria was merchandise rather than?
This was meant to be for last week's podcast when wasn't on it.
You can answer your own question as you've asked it and you're on it. What do you have anything?
I have an Angry Birds t-shirt, which is like super, super huge because I bought it in Hawaii when I didn't have anything to wear. And I have, it's not official, but I've got an Assassin's Creed t-shirt with the Assassin's Creed logo, but with a bear on it instead.
Yeah. I think I've got a Halo hoodie somewhere, but I don't know where it is. I can't remember if I got that for free or if I bought it. I honestly can't remember. So.
Lewis, did we get yours?
I don't think I have.
Okay.
Yeah, me neither.
Ron McFatty says, "Hope you're well, TC." What?
All right, cheers.
No,
yeah, I'm well too.
Hope you're well. That was the end of that sentence.
Oh, right, I see. You just mispronounced. In that case, Ron, I'm sorry. I misconstrued that. It was Chris's fault.
In fact, it says, "Hope you're all well."
Double fault for Kris there.
TC, was flying in space combat fine No Man's Sky, and did Sean give away anything about the plot?
No, didn't see it.
Okay.
No, and no.
Therapist gamer. It's really hard not to say the rapist gamer. Like my brain just scans it as that.
Yep.
Therapist gamer.
Shows where your brain's at, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Therapist gamer. What are the odds that No Man's Sky will work with VR? Also, I'd like to make it clear that's not what my brain is. Anyway, what are the odds that No Man's Sky will work with VR?
Well, me and Kris are having arguments about this every day, aren't we?
Yeah, constantly. That's all we do. It's pretty much all the TSA Slack channel is like 20% actual TSA stuff, and the rest of it is just arguments.
Yeah. Look, my theory is PlayStation VR hasn't got a big title. No Man's Sky runs at 60 frames a second and 1080p, which is what is required for PlayStation VR. It's coming out at the same time as PlayStation VR.
Maybe.
So PlayStation VR got an announcement?
No, it might be coming out at the same time as PlayStation VR.
PlayStation VR is meant to be out before the end of Q2, which is
okay,
June 30th.
which is, yeah.
PlayStation, as you know, No Man's Sky is out on June the 24th.
Yeah, pretty good timing.
We should get a price and a reveal date on March the 15th when there's a big event.
Yeah.
So either I'm going to win 50 quid on that day or not.
Did we bet 50 quid?
Yes.
Oh, I don't remember that.
Not with you, someone else.
Okay, right. I was going to say, I don't remember. I don't bet 50 quid on things. I bet 5 quid on things.
All right. Do you want to bet a fiver on it?
No, because I'm not convinced.
Yeah,
I am very on the fence. I don't know at the minute.
Where I'm pretty convinced it is going to have it.
Yeah.
Well, that would be pretty excellent. I think that would really help.
Yeah.
Help sell me on the game at least.
I think the reason I'm on the fence is I'm not convinced that PlayStation VR's release date is June. That's all.
More to the point, what will it cost? PlayStation VR, I mean.
Oh, like £400. Free to $350.
$350, I think.
It's a lot, isn't it?
They said it's gonna be the same as like it's a new console tiered thing. Like,
yeah.
Although I was talking to someone who said they didn't say it's going to be the same price as the PS4. They said it's going to be the same price as a new console. I also agree with Tuffcub's point he's made many times, which is they cannot realistically price it at more than the PS4 is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would be very difficult for them to get away with that. So
350 quid with a couple of games, I think, or maybe.
Yeah, but I don't think that game's going to be No Man's Sky. I think 350 quid with a smaller, like a couple of, not the playroom, but like the playroom style, like small experimental things.
I really hope that PlayStation VR takes off more than the other things, like the moves and the PlayStation Eyes.
Okay, well, I'm gonna stick my neck out and say March the 15th, PlayStation VR with No Man's Sky.
March 15th.
March 15th. That's when it gets revealed. But it'll be PlayStation VR with No Man's Sky for about 350 quid. Yeah. And you can all shout at me on March the 15th if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure I'm right.
I think March the 15th. I'm not convinced on the release date, but maybe. I think the final release date, the final price probably going to be out $350. I don't think with No Man's Sky. I think with something else. I think they'll bundle it with No Man's Sky, but I think it'll be more. I think maybe like $375 with No Man's Sky because it's a full priced title. Eddie Marathon says, if there could be a reboot of any old game of your choosing announced at E3, what would it be? I'd love a new State of Emergency.
There is... Oh. No, I'm thinking of something else. What State of an Emergency?
It's like a PS2 game, I think.
Was that where you had to play like a firefighter and things?
I can't remember.
Oh, brilliant. Well, that's good then.
Look it up. I can't remember everything.
Wait, so you want a game you can't
No,
remember?
Indie Marathon says they'd like a new State of Emergency.
Oh, I see. I thought that was your answer to her
Yeah,
question.
so did I.
Hmm.
Yeah, State of Emergency is... Yes, I think... Oh, no, State of Emergency is a beat-em-up.
There you go, that's what it is.
No, beat 'em up. As opposed to beat 'em down.
It's a beat-em-up published by Rockstar, of all people.
Oh, yeah, it is Rockstar game, yeah. I was thinking it's someone like Rockstar, right? Someone think like GTA. It's like, oh wait, it's actually Rockstar. Lewis, what do you think?
Destruction Derby.
Yeah, I'd be on board with that. Pandemonium. Make more Pandemonium. I like Pandemonium.
Oh yes, Nicky and Fargus.
That's a good game.
Yeah.
Or Siphon Filter.
Boon. What the heck's a boon? Remember that one dialogue?
Siphon Filter's pretty great in the it's not Metal Gear Solid, but sort of way.
Another not Heavenly Sword, Enslaved.
Okay.
That's a good call.
That'd be good. That's a really good shout. I don't know if they can do another Enslaved, because that's very explicitly based on the Chinese fairy tale, but...
I would like The Suffering.
Alex Kidd in Miracle World.
Oh, fuck yes. That'd be amazing.
In full and glorious.
Full 3D.
Yeah.
Or like 2.5D, so you keep
Yeah, I'd be right with that.
Yeah. What is The Suffering?
The Suffering, it was The Suffering, and then there was a sequel on PlayStation 2. It's kind of...
just a big mess up gore game, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was kind of gory, but it had a really, really good plot. The idea was you were incarcerated for possibly committing a murder of your wife and child. It's a bit basically God of War, but set on the Earth. You could mutate into an evil monstery thing, but as you battled through the world to try and rescue possibly your child or whatever, the enemies were themed, because you're in a prison and you're on death row. The enemies are themed around executions. So you had one which was like syringes. You had a massive hulking thing which had like 20 guns on its back as a firing squad. And it was a really good story and really well done, and the sequel's quite good as well. But yeah, it was kind of like a God of War hack and slash thing. But there was somebody really famous in it, I seem to remember. He says Wikipediaing. Something like Jodie Richardson or someone like that. The Suffering video game. Can't read about who was in it. But yeah, it was really good. Yes, Slayers are represented decapitation. Marksmen were represented by a firing squad. Mainliners represented lethal injection. Loose men represented hanging, and burrowers represented being buried alive.
Nice.
It was dark and nasty, but in a nice way. I think you had to save the game by sitting in electric chairs.
Yeah, I remember the electric chair bit.
Yeah, but yeah, I really enjoyed it. I quite like that, especially now you can, it's all been. We could do like Evil Within type thing with some really good graphics. So yeah, liked it. That please.
All right. Also, other question. Only Tony C would like to know. I want to hear Tuffcub's honest opinion of Broforce. In brackets, should be fun.
Oh, what a pile of shit!
Nah, Broforce is really good.
No.
Is it?
You just don't like it because it's a pixel game. It's actually an enjoyable game.
It's not. It's got.
I don't like it because of its toxic masculinity
exactly.
issues.
That is perhaps a reasonable viewpoint on it. The actual gameplay is fun.
No.
Yeah, that's fair.
No, it's terrible.
I mean, I don't know if that's fair.
What don't you like about the gameplay?
it's just like thing is, it moves really well. It's really slick and but they've made it pixely, where there's no reason it should be pixely.
So when I said, what about the gameplay? You were like, okay. I'm going to respond with a comment about the art style.
But I don't like pixel games, but it's just like, run and shoot things in these, shoot the little pixel things, and they blow into pixel blood, and things going rah, hoorah, and it's a load of bollocks. I hate it. I downloaded it and I played it for 2 minutes and then deleted it very, very quickly.
No, it's pretty fun.
No,
it's genuinely fun. I fully take on board your criticisms of the culture the game is presenting, but the actual gameplay is fun.
No.
It is. So I can't. It's just fun. Like, if
No.
you don't like the art style, fair enough. I find it weird that you hate pixel games so much, but it's still enjoyable.
No.
It is. Kev, have you played any of it yet?
I was
Broforce.
temporarily. I played very briefly because I think it was a PS Plus thing at some point. I played it.
It's now. It's right now.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, in that case, I haven't, because I haven't got this month's stuff yet. I feel like I did play it at some point, but maybe I didn't.
It's been out sort of for ages. I
feel very excluded from that sort of masculine bro gang thing. It's just not really.
My kind of feeling about it is, it is that, but it's so over the top that it's clearly acting as a pastiche.
Okay.
Because it takes it so far that it's not actually playing into
saying,
that
look
culture.
How ridiculous these things are.
It's basically a game that plays and has fun with a load of action movie stereotypes. Is kind of its real goal.
I usually tend to at least download this month's PS Plus content and then maybe play one of the three.
It's silly and fun, and it's not meant to be taken seriously in any way. It's just a silly game. Lewis, any thoughts on Broforce? Obviously not.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Exactly. You've been very quiet this week, Lewis.
Okay.
It's not a negative. I just say you're right.
It is a negative. Speak up, would you?
All right.
Thank you.
You haven't even heckled me relentlessly.
Sorry.
It was Rachel Griffiths who was in The Suffering.
Rachel Griffiths from The Suffering. Who is Rachel Griffiths?
For God's sake.
Kevling says, hello, not done this for a while, not that anyone noticed. We did notice Kevling, obviously.
I was really upset.
And Stuart
I mostly haven't been here, so.
Stuart H51 said hello as well. That is going to do it for this week's episode of the podcast. If you'd like to get in touch with us, you can get me on Twitter as HowPro, you can get Lewis as Lewis Gaston, you can get Kev as Kevitron400, you can get Tuffcub as Tuffcub. That's TUFF Cub. If you would like to get old episodes of the podcast, you can go to TheSixthAxis.com, where you can find other great content that we've produced. You can go to YouTube, where we've got a bunch of them. You can go to Stitcher, or you can go to iTunes. If you'd like to email us, you can email us at podcast@TheSixthAxis.com. Go to get the podcast itself. You can go to TSA Podcast on Twitter. But that's going to do it for now. So say goodbye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
The Sixth Axis Podcast.